Welcome to Chocolate Cake for the Soul, a space to return to your truth, awaken your energy, and leave with deeper clarity. I'm Dewi, and I'm here to hold gentle yet powerful conversation on healing, intuition, and the unseen energy that shape our lives. Whether you're building a soulful business, navigating your inner wounds, or simply learning to trust your intuition again, you're exactly where you need to be. So find your favorite cozy corner and take a bite of chocolate cake for the soul together. You would think that when someone meditates so much, their lives would be filled with peace, tranquility, harmony, laughter, and joy every day, right? Well, I'm sure this is what we all want, but the journey to get there is often ugly, painful, and treacherous. In order to be filled with peace, you need to release all the chaos, all the pain, hurt, mess from your space. When all of these energy have been released, then all that is left is peace. If you want to be filled with abundance, then all lack, pain, trauma, resentments, old programming that no longer works, unmatching from culture, society, or basically anything that holds you back must be released so that then only abundance remains in your space. Now, as I go through my own self healing process, I wanted to bring in peace and ease. And guess what? In order for this to come in, I need to release all fears, worries, anxieties. And coming from a family who is constantly being careful, always playing out the worst case scenario so that you don't fall into that trap, I'm telling you, it is not easy. My family have histories of worry, anxieties. It's already in my genetics, in my DNA, and of course, it's in my subconscious. I really need to dig deep and work really hard on this. At a very young age, I was prone to worry and anxiety. I remember after losing my second pregnancy, I was filled with a lot of fear throughout my third and fourth pregnancy. It is down to the core and deep wrenching trauma and fear. People can easily say, you're thinking too much, or just don't think too much, think positive. If they haven't experienced a huge trauma, then they don't know what's going on and they can never relate to what people like me go through. When the fear or panic kicks in, your whole body goes into survival. Your brain stops functioning. There's this knot in your stomach. Your breathing shallows. It is very control your body's reaction. You can try to ignore it by thinking positively. Trust me, positive thinking alone does not work. And for those of you who has panic attacks, you know this. Your mind starts racing, all the scary image or the worst thing that could happen, all the pictures starts flashing through your mind. Your body could barely function. You're lucky if you still can breathe and move on somewhat normally, like work and talk to people. Sometimes when it gets really bad, I can't do any of that. I'm lucky that I did not have the suffocation or have the chest pains, but there have been many days and nights where I could only lay down, barely able to function or be coherent. Words cannot fully explain or portray the agonizing pain, what people like us went through. But if you're one of them, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. And the real situation is probably 10 or 100 times worse than what I can explain in words. Now, maybe I'm being dramatic. Probably am. But I want to portray as best as I can how it was like, how it felt like. Getting through it was not easy, but it is possible. The only way to overcome anxiety and fear is to face it head on. It is hard because your mind will show you all these pictures that really triggers your whole body. By being very kind and gentle with yourself, just sit and follow the thread. When you follow the thread, you might soon understand what you're really triggered by, and usually it has nothing to do with the fear itself. For example, when my business slows down and revenue dropped, I had so much fear. Even opening up my financial report, it took me a long time to realize that actually it was shame. I felt like I wasn't good enough. I let this happen, and the shame triggered the fear and anxiety. After I showered myself with lots of self acceptance and love, it got better. But of course, usually it is more than one layer or more than one trigger. That is why it is so hard, because you need to keep working on it. It was a very long journey for me, with many, many, many newfound realizations and discoveries about myself. The last piece that I cleared up was around responsibility. I was able to come into terms and not be ashamed. But when it comes to others being affected, it was harder for me. For example, I have anxieties. What if I can't support my children? What if I can't make the payroll? What about all the other people depending on me? What about their families? But of course, God is good, and a way always comes. I'm still here today, but I really learned more about myself as I go through this process. At the end of the day, what really worked for me was really going deep down and facing on the fear and face on the fear. It is easy to be carried away by the fear and go to all the scenarios in your head. And sometimes when I'm so stuck, all I can do is just sit down and blow roses in meditation. Blowing roses is a way for me to move out energy. So I put whatever picture, colors, energy, feelings that I see in my head or in my body, put it in the rose, and I put a bomb in it and I just blow it up. Sometimes I just sit there for hours and hours just blowing roses because I'm not able to do anything else. Sometimes I get more insights as I was able to be more neutral to the energy. I might get more information as I follow the thread. Where does this come from? Where does this picture come from? Where does this fear come from? And sometimes when I'm too stuck, I pray for help and I reach out to others for help. Sometimes answers might come in a YouTube video or a friend just giving you a hello. In order to overcome it, you need to keep going even when it's hard, to keep digging and digging and digging until you find the core of the issue and work on it. It could be a forgiveness. It could be changing an agreement made. It could be releasing a picture. It could be updating karma. It could be figuring out the lie. And usually the lie is hard to detect because it's embedded with the truth. The most difficult part is recognizing when it is time to let go, because it is beyond your control. For those of you who are struggling with fear and anxiety, know that you can get out of it. Words might not be able to fully express, as a lot of it are work done internally, but just know that it can be done. As you overcome the fear, whatever it is that you're having issues with will usually go away because it no longer serves a need. Yes, there is a light at the end of that long-winded tunnel. Keep going, have faith, and God bless. Thank you for sharing this sacred pause with me today. If something in this episode stirred your heart or softened your edges, I'd love for you to subscribe, like, and share with someone you love, and leave a kind review. It helps this soul space reach those who need it most. Until next time, may you trust your inner voice, nourish your spirit, and treat yourself to something sweet.